Good, great afternoon to you. It's your girl Key. I'm a qualified, experienced psychotherapist at Key for Change, and I help people to deal with life conundrums, life situations that get the best of all of us. As far as I'm concerned, I believe I help people to navigate the tricky situations that often cause us to become anxious and depressed. And I do work for myself, and there's a deliberate reason why I work for myself. But the reason I'm quickly doing a live here today is because there was an anonymous request for a counsellor that understands Indian family dynamics and their 20-year-old to help ongoing disputes and to improve communication. I think I have responded, and I thank you to Poonam who tagged me in the video. And I think, I am mixed race. I have a black mother. I have a white father. So I ain't Asian, as you can probably tell. What I would say about my understanding about Asian dynamics, I would say initially my understanding came through working in prisons. I worked at Wormers Scrubs prison as a probation officer for 8 years. And I did programs. So I worked with high risk violent offenders. I also worked with sex offenders. And what that enabled me to do was meet people from all manner of backgrounds. But because I did in-depth work with those individuals, I got to understand a great deal about culture, customs. And I think Roxana is waving. Let me wave back. Am I inviting you to go live too? Are we going to add you? Roxana, if you're coming in, that would be a true blessing. Bring them on camera. I don't know if that's going to allow you to do that, but you're welcome to come on if you want to. No answer. Okay. Anyway, hello, how are you? But one of the things working in prison enabled me to do, because I had to, was to understand the dynamics, the cultural dynamics that influence offending behavior. And so I was very privileged to work with people from all backgrounds. What I've noticed in private practice is Asian clients have tended to prefer Black mixed therapists. I think what my thinking has been, and I've been told this deliberately as well, is because, you don't have to worry about us being in similar circles. So there's no risk or worry about comeback. And also that we're not white, so that you trust that we'll understand the cultural dynamics, whereas there's a concern that white people wouldn't necessarily get it. And that's understandable. The only one tip I would say to you about family dynamics is I posted a recent picture about narcissistic families and scapegoats. I think it's a wonderful thing that obviously you want to improve family dynamics. Only challenge is sometimes, especially if you're a truth teller, there's also a highly likelihood that you can become a scapegoat. So if you know about being a scapegoat, if you've often been the truth teller and you've been punished, sanctioned for that. Hey, Natasha. Hey, thank you. You know what? If you guys have any questions about anything to do with psychology or well-being, you can ask me. I'm happy to answer. Because it's not just about family dynamics. But what I would say is also in family dynamics, from a systemic point of view, there are so many aspects that are entrenched and ingrained. And I'm very much an advocate and a supporter of truth tellers. Because truth tellers in families are often ostracized, they get criticized, and we can often feel immense guilt. You hear me saying we, so you know that that's a battle I've already had, right? It's just to be aware of it, that we can have very good intentions to dialogue with our family, to bring up uncomfortable scenarios. Sometimes there's generational issues. Like some of the old school family members, they don't want to talk. They don't want to have the conversation. And in fact, they may punish or sanction you for wanting to air very difficult material. So also watch out for that. And if that is something that you are experiencing as a younger person who's wanting to have conversation with families about dynamics, be careful. Just notice the resistance if everybody's in and up for it, I think that's a wonderful thing. But if they're not, just be careful about being the scapegoat, because the scapegoat often gets a really rough time. And what I want to help scapegoats do, and it's work that I'm working on at the moment, is helping scapegoats, the truth tellers, in terms of how you resource yourself. Because you have to know that you're coming from a good place within, And what may happen is outside of you, everybody finds you the difficult person. I'm here to let you know, if you're the scapegoat in your family, if you're the person that everybody says is difficult because you name truths that nobody wants to address, and then you begin to doubt yourself or you feel isolated, that is a natural part of the process, I'm afraid, because people want you to remain mute. And sometimes, as difficult as it is, it's best we accept that our family dynamics are as they are, because for some of us, we go on mission change and some people don't want to change. And so you can end up using your energy to try to change situations where nobody don't want to change. And that will make you depressed. That will make you anxious because your energy is being channeled into situations you can't control. So, have the difficult conversations. I think it's wonderful that you want to have that. But sadly, when different generations come in, they have a different way of handling it, and they can become very stubborn and dig their heels in. And if they use punishment or sanctions or basically ostracize you for truth telling, pay attention to that. And sometimes we have to accept situations as they are. Acceptance doesn't mean we like it, but we accept it as it is because we need to preserve our own energy, and we need to practice self-preservation, which may mean you may need to start to think about how best you protect yourself in a dynamic where either you're, ostracized, made to feel like the bad person, and that coping strategies for you in that instance can be far more beneficial. Bring Deepa on camera. I don't know if Deepa wants to be on camera because this is what Facebook is. Their phones won't be, I don't know, I can add you if you like to. There you go. I don't know how this is working. Deepa Patel, hello, Ishigal Key. So that's just a quick one from me. I want to thank Poonam for tagging me in that. I appreciate that you tag. And what I would say is, we also have to be realistic. Sometimes we're dealing with different generations. In the Black community, there's also we don't chat our business. So, when I've kind of sometimes wanted to have difficult conversation, I've been stonewalled. And when you're stonewalled, when you come from a good intention, it can be very difficult. However, acceptance will free you. Acceptance will free you. And sometimes we just have to learn to accept situations as they are and, use our energy for a more productive purpose where we can make traction. Sometimes we have to use our energy to best look after ourselves. It's your girl Key. If anything I said has resonated with you or touches you, if you're a scapegoat and a truth teller and people have been sanctioning you in order to keep you mute and you're struggling with that, I've left here my online diary link. Feel free to set up a fact-finding call. Let's get down into the detail, what's getting the best of you, because there's always a rational, reasonable explanation for things like anxiety and depression. There's always a reasonable explanation for them. And once you find the reasonable explanation, that then leaves you with choice. What do you decide to do? And that's why I'm a massive advocate. And I advocate this as a part of the Pain into Purpose course that I deliver once a month, which is, the reality is in certain situation, acceptance will surely free you. Sometimes we have to learn to let go, let God, and self-preservation is a must. But remember, with any goal, we must always start small. Always start small. We don't want epic change. Sometimes epic change is too overwhelming. Nice, bite-sized goals is always helpful because we get small wins. And small wins give us the energy to carry on. So when I say acceptance, doesn't mean we just give up on the family. But what we do is we repurpose our energy, one, into self-preservation, and then maybe thinking about what coping strategies you need to put in place to best look after yourself. Sometimes we have great intentions, but if they're not welcomed, if people are very difficult about them, we sometimes have to accept that maybe at this particular time, those people aren't ready. And you have to know in yourself that you come from a good place, you come from a place of integrity, and that at this particular point in the dynamics that you're set up in, your viewpoints aren't welcomed. It's your girl Key, getting real about the real truths, the uncomfortable truths, the inconvenient truths that we all battle with in life. If you have any questions or queries, feel free to inbox me or set up a fact-finding call at keyforchange.com. Do take care of you, because if you don't, no one is coming to rescue us. We have to learn to be our own best friend. Take care.